Okay, so welcome to the GC-IRC technical meeting on insect pest management in rapeseed. And in this session, we're going to tell you all about the advances that have been made recently towards sustainable insect control. Insects just love rapeseed. There are a lot of entomology going on in oilseed rape. In studies in the UK, when we looked at different ways of collecting insects from the crop, we found 151 different species in the crop and 40 additional taxonomic groups that we couldn't resolve to species. So there's a lot of insects going on. Some of them, unfortunately, are pests. There are several insect pests of oilseed rape across the globe, and they attack the crop at different stages of its life cycle, which makes it very difficult for farmers to control them because they've got to keep a constant eye on pest management in the crop. But fortunately, most of the insects that are found in rapeseed are benign, or actually they're beneficial. And these insects can include natural enemies of the crop pests, so they are going to perform pest control for free for the farmer. Also, in this crop, we find pollinators such as bees and butterflies, which actually improve the yield of the crop and benefit the farmer. And also there are things like detritivores, which are very important in decomposition and soil improvement processes. And all the insects provide very important food resources for farmland birds. So oilseed rape is very important in the agri-environment. Unfortunately, this importance has taken a long time to come to the fore. The very first international conference that I ever attended was the GC-IRC 10th International Rapeseed Congress, which occurred in Canberra in 1999. And in that session, event, there were 25 sessions presented, and only one of them had anything to do with insects, and that was from the Crop Protection Committee, which presented on integrated pest management, and there were only 5 presentations in that session. There was one additional presentation from the Breeding for Resistance session on flea beetle. So very, very little interest in insects back then. Forward wind to today, 2021, here we are with this technical meeting with a whole session dedicated to insects. We have speakers for every single GC-IRC committee, and actually we could have filled a whole session on each one of these committees. So I'm really looking forward to the next Rapeseed International Congress in 2023 in Sydney, because I think that we can fill a whole session for each one of our committees. What have we got for you today? Well, in the meeting today, I'd like to start off by welcoming Dr. Sabine Andert from the University of Rostock in Germany, who's going to tell us about the rapeseed global value. She's noticed in her recent paper that the production of oilseed rape or rapeseed globally has declined, and this is mainly due to a decline of production in Europe, and she's identified that insect pests are a major cause of this decline because farmers can no longer control them. In the Crop Protection Committee section, we have welcomed different speakers from all around the globe representing the major rapeseed producing countries of the world. From Australia, we have Dr. Serena McFadden from CSIRO, Dr. Boyd Morey from the University of Alberta, Canada, Dr. Mika Brandes from the Julius Kern Institute in Germany, Dr. Saran Kumar from the Punjab Agricultural University in India, and Professor Xiumin Hu from China. And I've asked each one of these speakers to talk to us about the major pests that occur in that region, the active ingredients, the insecticides that are available to control them, and any potential alternative controls that are out there or ones that are in the pipeline for controlling the insect pests. Next up, in the breeding and genetics session, we welcome Dr. Maxime Hervé from the University of Rennes in France, who's going to talk to us about the development of pest-resistant rapeseed cultivars, and I think this is every farmer's dream. Next, in the agronomy session, we have Céline Robert from Terre Innovia in France, and she's going to tell us about the different agronomical methods that farmers can use to suppress insects to prevent the problems occurring in the first place. So the genetics and breeding, pest-resistant cultivars and agronomical methods represent really important cultural methods that are important in IPM, integrated pest management strategies for controlling insects. The other part of IPM is alternative controls to insecticides. And so I've asked for a kind of an extra session in the crop protection committee to cover these important parts of IPM. So I'm really pleased to welcome Dr. Hector Carcimo from the Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada, who's going to talk to us about biological control of coleoptera pests in canola. Then we've got Dr. Peran Scott Ross from Australia, who's going to talk to us about some really cool work harnessing endosymbiotic bacteria and aphids for crop protection. Then we have Professor Eve Berriman from the Estonian University of Life Sciences in Estonia, who's going to talk to us about RNAi and the potential of this new technology to control pollen beetle pests in rapeseed. And last but not least, we have Professor Guy Schmeger from the University of Ghent in Belgium, who's going to talk to us about the importance of registering, the process of registering RNAi technology. Last but not least, we have in the quality section, we have Dr. Sandra Lindström from the University of Lund in Sweden, who's going to talk to us about the importance of bees and pollination and how that can improve yield and quality of rapeseed. So I hope you agree that we've got a really exciting programme for you today, and I'd like to ask you to join us, please, for the live discussion session. That's going to happen on Tuesday the 28th of September at 1:30 Central European Time, and we're going to start with an open question and answer session for speakers. You can ask your questions via the chat function in the pre-recorded speakers situation in the online, and then we'll be able to answer those in the live session. You can also ask live questions for speakers in that session. Then we're going to follow that with a discussion with a panel of speakers, and hopefully we're going to get lots of audience participation in that discussion via the chat function. But if you do want to switch on your microphone, raise your hand, and hopefully we'll be able to bring you in live to ask your questions and to contribute to the discussion. In the discussion, we're going to ask some questions. Is a lack of synthetic and active ingredients driving the pest problems that we see via resistance? Then we're going to explore whether or not we really can grow rapeseed without insecticides. We're going to summarise really what tools we have now and what tools are in the pipeline that are most likely to enable this. And if we have time, we'd really like to explore what the main barriers are to achieving sustainable production in terms of pests in rapeseed at the moment. So I really hope that you'll join us in this live discussion. And thank you for your interest and for participating in our technical meeting. Thank you.